It's Don here from the board. Thanks for coming along and checking out this video. So today we're going to be checking out a Feker 80 Alice style keyboard. It's going to be a little bit more special than that, but we'll check that out very shortly. I mean, you probably would have seen in the title anyway, but it's a Corgi themed keyboard. Now, this video has been made possible thanks to WhatGeek, especially in regards to their 11/11 sale. So it's happening right now between the 8th to the 13th of November, and I believe, yep, you can get free shipping on all orders. There's a couple of codes on the front, and also they've provided me a code which is DON10. I'll have that in the video description below so that you can get, I'm not sure if it's $10 off or 10% off. Just chuck it in the cart, I guess, and see, because I don't know if you would necessarily want to spend $100 or $200, $300 plus, but if you do want to get something that's $150, that DON10 code might help save you a bit of money, and you'll get the free shipping during this sale anyway. Now, of course, while they have provided me with this keyboard to review, and yes, we are showing off this sale, everything and anything that I say today in regards to the keyboard that we're going to check out here is 100% my opinion. The good, the bad, the ugly. Okay? So we're going to have a look at the actual board, which is this thing. They offered me a couple of boards to potentially look at, and when I saw this, I thought straight away of a good friend of mine who absolutely loves Corgis, and I thought I had to do it for him, so I asked for this one instead of the other options. Now, I don't actually know if the one they sent me has the wrist rest or not. So I can't really fault them if the wrist rest isn't part of it, but it would be fantastic if it actually is. And you can see right now with that sale, it is 169 US, so you will get that discount, but I believe they do have another version of this listed somewhere that doesn't have the wrist rest, which will be under 150 US, so you might use that code for the discount as much as you can, and of course get that free shipping. Now, this is an Alice style board. As you can see, it's that split ergonomic with kind of that curved shape to it. It is an 80%, so, and also has a rotary encoder here by the looks of it. So gasket mount, hot swappable, comes with some switch options here. Should be Bluetooth Type-C and wireless connection, 8,000 milliamp battery, which is huge. It's got some LED backlighting, NKRO, which is pretty standard these days. Bit of an exploded parts diagram, so you should be able to switch between Type-C, well, with the wireless on-off, sorry, and then Mac and Windows, and a system switch. I do wonder if that's kind of like a reset or something like that. There is some software here for adjusting volume and play pause functionality, but I'm not going to go and get the software in VR and whatnot to play around with the mapping. That's not really what I generally do. We're just going to be having a look at how it actually looks out in the real world. No fancy shots, no, I suppose, high production, but reality as it is. And of course, we're going to do a bit of typing on that, see how it sounds with the stock switches that came in it, using my reference microphone that is getting in my way right now. And yeah, some thoughts around how it feels, how it looks. Does it live up to the hype of how cute this board looks on their website? So here is the package. What I've done is I've actually had to excise my address off the package. I couldn't peel it off, it was just stretching the plastic, but as you can see, the rest of it's all taped up. They've done a really great job with this sort of standard foam that you will often get from international packages. It's quite a lot of weight to it. Now, the plastic is quite durable, and yeah, for most part, I'm pretty confident that the packaging shouldn't be too badly damaged. Oh yeah. Get rid of that. Now my usual pair of scissors is actually at the house at the moment because I've been doing work on the house and the renovations and whatnot. So my tools are kind of all over the place. I use a little tiny multi-tool that I got for Christmas many moons ago. Will that help me open this? See, will that come out this way? Oh, I've taped on this side heavily too. There you go. Free that up. Don't cut myself. Wow. Look at that beast. So there's the Feker Alice ergonomic gasket keyboard. Hug me, cute corgi. Right, it's plastic sealed, so top lighting, bottom lighting. What does top lighting mean? Top lighting? I'm not even sure what that means. Well, I guess we'll find out what bottom lighting means. There's a corgi on the side, another corgi on the top, some Chinese there, bit of a woof, and then let's just check out the back. Alright, so Type-C, RGB, hot swap, 70%. Interesting. So the website calls it an 80, Corgi 80. Maybe it's just 80 switches as opposed to an 80%. And of course the 8000 milliamp that we already talked about. Of course, because it's in plastic, I'm going to have to cut it open. Alright, so there we go. Okay, let's turn this back around. It is heavy as. Now I do note that there is no mention or picture with this of the wrist rest. So whether it's going to be the wrist rest version or not, I do not know. Oh, wow. Okay, so the inside of the box has a bit of foam that's stuck to the lid, which is a nice touch actually to keep everything in. And was not expecting that. That's and there is a wrist rest. Yeah, that is actually awesome, super awesome. Okay, so here's kind of the quick start guide. So we have Mac, Windows, on/off Type-C, the interface USB, push the switch to off state, connect USB-A to Type-C port, push to off to enter, wireless, BT, push it to on, connect the port Type-C press function and CVB to enter Bluetooth Alice123 mode. Okay, so you can actually connect this to 3 devices and long press for 3 seconds to pair to a new device. Press 1 time for reconnected to previously paired device. Okay, so there's a whole block here in super tiny text. I mean, I think it's cool that they did this poster, but at the same time, I think blowing it up a little bit might have been nicer if they had an extra manual to go with this, but I'm sure you can find all of this online anyway through the documentation. And of course, there's some battery indicators and device descriptions if you're trying to find it for pairing. Now, I'm not going to test the Bluetooth here. I'm not going to test the wireless. We're just going to go with the straight up wired version just for simplicity. But that is actually really gorgeous. I like that it comes with this plastic shell to protect it, which is really nice. And ooh, that's actually got some feet with a bit of plastic on it to protect that. Does that peel off? Yeah, I reckon, yeah, that peels off. I'm actually not going to peel that off. I'm just going to leave that as is. It's got a good amount of weight on it. It does feel nice and smooth. You can see it's got a bit of gloss on it, so they have put a finish on it. It just doesn't look like it's a very thick layer or a thick film of finish, but that is it's cool. You can see I'm actually genuinely happy at seeing that there. Alright, so what else have we got here? We got some well, this is obviously the cables, but I'm just trying to see what else is underneath. So we've got a warranty card here, and then we got some stickers, some transfers. There you go. So that's actually really cute. That's actually really funny. So if you're into corgis and you want to really show that off, this may really be it for you. Okay, so there's an extra, what looks to be an enter to replace. Actually, is it a shift or is it an enter? No, it's a space bar. Okay, so you can change the hug me to I love corgis. What else have we got in here? In the accessories, we've got a matching colored cable. We have a switch puller, and we have a keycap puller. One of the good wire types as well, not one of those horrible plastic ring pullers. So kudos for actually putting a decent puller into this kit. We're going to obviously keep that out because we're going to need that. Let's put this certificate of approval back in, and let's lift this heavy. Oh, and there's another piece of decal there that says Feker. Wow, this has got a lot of heft to it. So just take that shell off it, and let's put that over to the side. Let's have a look. Okay, so it's a plastic shell, which is not that surprising, but it's got a lot of weight to it. I guess an 8,000 milliamp battery is actually going to do that. I mean, it is plastic all around, but I do like the fact that it does even have sort of the graphics on the underneath. This feels like metal. It's a little bit cool to the touch, and they've even got a plastic sheet over the top of it to protect it from being scratched and scuffed, and you can of course have the satisfaction of peeling that off. Straight away, I like it in that it's got flip out feet, because I do like flip out options. It does give you two height options there, and we can see there's the system switch. Oh, that's not a system switch. That's a Bluetooth or a Wi-Fi receiver. That's actually cool. That is actually really cool. I really appreciate that they got one there. The problem is that's not very well kept in. That's just going to fall out and you're going to lose it. I do wish that they'd maybe put a better mechanism, because something's rattling. That's not good. That is not cool. There is something rattling. Okay, so that did not fall out as I thought it would, but it is actually really loose. It would have been nicer even if they just put a dummy USB type A socket here, and they could have just literally plugged that in. Now, it isn't falling out as easy as I thought it would, but I can imagine that with, you know, the wrong kind of shock event, yeah, like, okay, I'm not tapping it super hard, but you can see just hitting it an inertia and force, it is coming out slightly. So just something, maybe if they're going to do another version of this, to consider and to think about. Alright, so let's put that down. Keycaps. Okay, so the font of it, it's actually pretty cute. I know it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea with the font. I'm okay with it because it is novelty, it is thematic. They could have gone with, I guess, an ordinary font and still retain the cuteness with the images of the corgis. It wasn't absolutely necessary, and I guess the challenge here is your alpha fonts and the style doesn't really match your modifiers very well, and your numrow type is also not consistent with that, so that's something. I do like the knob having the paw on that. It's very tactile. It's fairly smooth. You can feel the bumps on it, and yeah, it's okay. It's got a bit of wobble on it. You can kind of see with me rotating that. It's got a bit of rocking to it. Not the most stable, I guess, is a good way of describing it. Gonna just pop. Okay, so yeah, that's just a straight up friction fit plastic cap on that, what seems to be, yeah, it's metal, aluminium, and it's a very short stub encoder, not like a long pole encoder that you might find on some of the other boards out there, or community created ones. So it's okay, it's passable, it's workable if you want to program something else for, if it's not just media, which is the default, I believe. Right, now let's have a look at what's underneath the bonnet. We'll just take keycap off in the middle. All right. Oh. Okay, so I haven't even pressed these yet. So it's a linear. I believe these are Gateron Pro 2 yellow switches, which I've actually never encountered before. So if that's kind of new to you, then this is what it looks like. It's a yellow top with a white stem. It's got that sort of bracket around it to give it a bit more stability and reduce wobble. It's actually really smooth. So I don't know if you can hear this. So that's not bad. Let's have a look at the keycaps. They're actually a reasonable thickness. So that's actually quite good to see. I don't actually have calipers. Okay, so here is the calipers, and let's have a look. So they're over 1 millimeter, but they're under 1.5. Is that consistent? Yeah, so they're sitting around maybe like a 1.2. So definitely over a mil, but under a 1.5 mil thickness. Not super skinnies, but also not super thicks. So that's alright, not too bad. In terms of the shape and the profile, I actually don't know what they are. They just describe them as dye-sublimation PBTs. So if we have a look at the actual profile, they're definitely not cherry. Are they kind of closer to like maybe some kind of... Well, they're not OEM either, for that matter. I don't know. If anybody knows, please, of course, comment below. And yeah, everybody will be able to find out what they are. Right, so I've gone and done the silly thing because I put that back on when I meant to take the switch out so we could have a look underneath. There we go. Ooh. Ayah. Right, so we've got a diffuser on the bottom of that Gateron Pro Yellow 2. There's a white LED diffuser there. Which, a 5-pin switch. We've got a diffuser plate. Oh, this thing is heavy. Okay, you've got a white plate that's like a acrylic diffuser, and then you've got your hot swap PCB and a RGB LED on south side. Now it looks like there's these dampening corners as well. So what I mean by that is, if you have a look in each of the corners of the switch, there's these little bits that stick out on top of the PCB. And that might be some kind of silicon sheet. I've not seen that before, so oh, that came off with the switch on it unexpectedly, and yeah, it's on the next switch over as well. So every one of those must have it. I guess if we go back to this exploded parts one, they call it a silicon muffler pad. Silicon muffler pad. Okay, interesting. Now I'm not going to do a complete breakdown of this and actually pull the whole board apart to see it, but you know, you can see what they're going for in regards to that design. Oh, wow, okay. I'm not going to say that I'm super happy about that already, in that it actually has a lot of flex. Now I know, yeah, it's gasket mount, it's meant to have some flex, but I don't know if you can see it in the video very well, but probably doesn't represent very well when I'm holding it and the whole thing's moving. But you can kind of see it if you watch the top here. The whole thing like flexes inwards. Now that is a reasonable amount of pressure to do that. Like if you're a light typist, it's not going to do it, but if you do hit it, yeah, like you can, if you watch very carefully, that is actually moving. If you're not a fan of gasket mount and you don't like any flex at all in your keyboards, then this might actually be a deal breaker for you. It very well could be. I don't know why I've just gone and put that away again, because I was going to have a look at the stabilizers. So what did they kit us out with for stabilizers? Let's just go with the enter key. And hopefully I'm not going to... Alright, so it's just standard kind of plate mount stabilizers. Wire is underneath. Yeah, it's pretty standard kind of stuff. Nothing too crash hot. But what is really interesting is that's a Feker Panda. That is not a gateron yellow switch. What is going on? It says, hang on, it says Gateron Pro 2 yellow switch. This is not a Gateron Pro switch. This is a Feker Panda. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Is it because they expect people want a slightly tactile switch on the modifiers? This is wild. No, I mean, that's a gateron yellow. I gotta get to the bottom of this now. It is. It's a Panda on the big switches, on the stabilized switches. Alright, let's check out the it's another Panda switch. Okay, so I think for their large stabilizer keys, they've gone with what? That is so mushy. Oh, what on earth is that even seated correctly? That feels really terrible. Oh, it's not cool. What's this? This... What is that? I don't... It's just a bit of random plastic. It's not soft. It's a bit of random plastic that seems to have broken off somewhere. It's not the keycap stem, because the keycap stem's perfectly fine. No issues with it whatsoever. I mean, the focus isn't playing ball, but... Okay, with that out of the way, is that going to be any better? Yeah, okay. Some bit of random plastic has either fallen in or fallen out. Let's find out if anything else has been jammed up. Nope. Okay. Wow. Was not expecting that. Was not expecting that at all. Okay. So I think I think we've explored those quite well now, and I'm very conscious of obviously how long this is taking, but it's been a while since I've actually reviewed a board like this, especially one that has a wrist rest that comes with it. Look at that. Look at that. Is it comfortable? It's a bit short. Like, I'm not going to say that my hands are absolutely massive, but it's practically not doing anything for my wrists. Where I'm putting my hands, look, I can literally I can literally slot this in and I would be virtually almost typing the same without it. It needs like another centimeter of it, and I feel like the angle, the fall off on it, I know what they're going for because they're matching the height and curvature of this. Probably needs to be a little bit less aggressive in the fall off for me, right? For my preferences. You know, if I tried to sort of just bank that up, I probably could get that to happen, but the middle obviously won't match that curve as well. Now I know that it does slide around because I probably should peel that off to make it not slide around, but for the purposes of this, I'm okay with it. It's all right, but for my personal preferences as far as wrist rests go, I would probably want to just make a little bit longer and a little bit higher. That fall off is probably just a bit too much for me and my personal preferences. Okay, so let's plug it in. Now, unlike another board that I reviewed not that long ago, I'm going to make sure I sink this all the way in. That's as deep as it's going to go. Yep, because last time when I had a board, I didn't plug it in all the way hard enough, and it gave me problems because I thought it wasn't working. But now, taste the rainbow. Okay, that is that's actually really cool. Now, if I'm going to turn off the desk light, just so you can kind of see that a little bit better contrast. It's doing all sorts of things that RGBs like to do. I'm not going to go and play too heavily with changing the modes and everything else. RGB is not critical for me in life, but obviously playing with the different modes is an option available if you do check out that guide. Right, what is important is that we move on and try and do a bit of typing. So I'm going to go to good old Monka type, and we're just going to go with a super short type sample, I guess, simply because on this layout of keyboard I'm going to be absolutely atrocious at it. What I am going to do is I am going to switch over to the reference microphone now. So I'm just going to move that into place. We're going to change the input on my mixer so it will sound slightly different, but it'll give you a much better representation of what this Corgi, this Alice style Feker 80 Corgi board with a mix of Gateron Pro 2 yellows and Feker pandas. So what you're hearing now is the input from the reference microphone on the desk and not my ribbon microphone, which is above the desk. All right, let's see how badly I go in this monkey type. Now I didn't do any of the modifiers, so let's just open Notepad and spam a bit of that so you have a better idea of what that sounds like. Okay, all right, let's switch back over. What are my thoughts about this particular keyboard? Well, not that I'm really reviewing the switches, but it's the first time I've used this type of switch, and for the alphas, they're actually really smooth. They're very smooth. I'm not normally a linear type of person, but I don't mind these. They are probably factory lube. They don't really feel like they have any scratch, and they give a nice, I wouldn't really say that's silent because obviously you can hear the bottoming out here, but that sound is actually quite crisp. Quite crisp. I enjoyed that sound. I do not like the mix of having the pandas, and I guess it might be a keycap profile thing and also the size of the keycaps, but the sound profile is very different on the modifiers to the alphas. And what's even, I suppose, weirder for me is the fact that they are asymmetric in sounding. So this spacebar on the left versus the spacebar on the right sound very different. Probably get used to that over time. If you're an Alice type of user, you're probably okay with that because that's just part and parcel of this particular style. Having the Win key there, having the Win key over here is not really that big a deal. I guess it's just muscle memory because I do use Win Shift S a lot for screen caps, so Win Shift S is probably not that big a deal if I was going to use this, say, for work. Of course, I probably would not take this to work for a multitude of reasons. Despite, how nice this actually is, I don't personally think it's very suitable for my work environment. If it's suitable for your work environment, go nuts, right? If this is part of your personality and, I always tell people at work, bring your weird, then bring this. Bring it, have a ball, have a good time with it. So, yeah, types well, feels okay. Now my comments about the flex. I wasn't typing very fast. My 30-second sample there, I was only typing about 90 words per minute, 89% accuracy, and just to sort of show that, that's what I did in that 30-second time. And I didn't really feel that flex. If you type faster, if you hit harder, you're more sensitive to the feel of flex, then that's going to be something that you'll probably have to think about and decide. In terms of the layout and how aggressive that curve is, it actually surprised me because my own design, the down bubble, has a very similar angle to it. Mine's a bit more separated because I have a numpad in the middle of it, but I actually adopted to it quite quick. And what I mean by that is you can see in that initial period I had a bit of a drop, but then, sort of after 10 seconds of typing and just readjusting to it, I was quite stable in my typing speed, and it was slowly climbing up as I got more confident with the particular layout. So if you're already accustomed to a standard stagger split board, I don't think this curve is so aggressive that you'll make too many mistakes compared to a more traditional Alice board, which has a bit more of a harder angle break compared to this gentle curvature. If you see another Alice board, you'll kind of understand what I mean, because these keys here and the separation of these keys here tends to have a bit more of an angle to it. If you have a look at the GKG75 Ergo, you'll sort of see what I mean about that. Alright, so just having a look, and I'm very conscious that this is becoming a 40+ minute video right now, but been a while, but I'm going to wrap it up and give my thoughts, my final thoughts. For the price, at 170 or whatever it is, let's talk about the real normal price, not the sale price, which is $190 US, right, is what they claim its normal retail price is. First of all, the things that you're going to get for it is you're going to get a wrist rest that thematically matches the board. The quality, despite the fact that it is a plastic case, is actually quite nice. The features on it, the textures, the printing is really clean, it's really crisp. The keycaps, it's die-subbed PVT, and the legends are really clean, they're really crisp. The graphics on it are really clean with a lot of fine detail on it. So, I think you're actually getting a reasonable amount of value for that price when you consider it's a very big battery, an 8,000 milliamp battery, if that's actually what's installed. It has a great weight to it. Like, it hasn't moved at all. It's super heavy. It really is really heavy. So if you like that feel and how solid it is on your table, this will definitely win you over. The knob features, by default it's a volume switch, which I'm not really sort of testing at the moment, and I'm just checking that it's not doing anything weird to my OBS. I'm just seeing if it's doing anything to my... It is actually changing my speaker volume on my desktop, which you can't really see, but yeah, it's adjusting that, so it's doing as its default intended is. Lighting, the RGB, it works, it glows through. It's not actually too in your face because the whole case isn't transparent compared to, say, like a Gamma K, where the whole acrylic thing is just like, Gondor calls for aid kind of thing. So if you do like a little bit of more subtle RGB, then this may actually suit that as well. Right, giving a score, I'm going to go an 8. I'm actually quite comfortable in giving this an 8 because for a cohesive themed board, front, back, wrist rest, the fact that it's multimodal, and the bonus is the fact that it actually came with a receiver, has won me coming with a receiver. Didn't want to give it more because there are obviously things that they could have done better around that, such as changing this to have something that it actually plugs into proper, and also just the really weirdness of having that random chip of plastic that came in it, that came with it. I don't even know where it went. It's probably fallen off my board, unless if this keyboard has magically absorbed it. No, here it is. This random chip of plastic. Alright, that is it. That is the Feker Alice80 Corgi mechanical keyboard with wood wrist rest. It is available from WhatGeek, and thank you again to WhatGeek for offering to send this to me for review. Do please go check out their site for their sale that is running right now. If you're after a board and you like this, maybe you don't like these, check out what else they've got for a bit of a discount, or use that DON10 code and get free shipping. Make do with whatever you can these days. Yeah, that's it. Well, thanks very much for checking out this video. Hopefully you haven't skipped through too much, but if you're a long-time viewer of this channel, you'll know I get pretty wordy and I take my time in checking out keyboards in my own way. If you like this kind of stuff, of course, hit the like button, hit that bell notification button if you want to have notifications of when more videos come out, including my ASMR series that's been sort of slowly plodding along. And if, of course, you are new to this channel and you haven't subscribed, I would love and appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. I haven't hit 5,000 subscribers yet, and it's been quite a long journey to get there. So yeah, be nice if I can hit that 5K eventually. Well, thank you again for coming along and checking out this video. Hope you enjoyed that, and until next time, happy clacking.